Welcome back to Realistic Fitness on SHUPirates.com, brought to you by Adidas. And as usual, I'm strength and conditioning coach Angelo Gingerelli. On today's episode, we're going to deal with getting in good quality workouts outdoors when the weather conditions are less than ideal. Now, if you live in the Northeast, like where we are, if we only trained on the days it was perfect weather outside, we get between 10 and 12 training days a year. So we have to make concessions and prepare our bodies to perform in those kind of conditions. And the first thing we want to make sure is that we are dressed appropriately, not like these people. Who are dressed appropriately for nothing. If you're going to train outdoors when it's really hot out, you're going to have to dress appropriately. And what that means is you're going to focus on cool, light fabrics that are preferably of a light color, because the darker the color, the hotter you're going to get and the higher you're going to raise your core body temperature. On top of that, you want to look at fabrics that breathe. Adidas makes a great product called Climacool that's available online and in most retailers that's made specifically to whisk the sweat away from your body and have it evaporate, because it's the evaporation of sweat that keeps us cool. If you wear a cotton t-shirt or something not made for that, as that gets soaked and it can't evaporate in a timely fashion, the wetter you get, the hotter you're going to be over time, the higher your core body temperature is going to get, and the more likely you are to suffer some kind of heat-related illness. Obviously, we want to stay away from that. Other things you want to keep in mind when you're training outside in the heat is, number one, the exact temperature where you are. So the weatherman might say it's 80, but if you're on blacktop or turf that attracts the sun a whole lot, it might be 95 or 100 where you are. Secondly, if you're in an area where the wind or the breeze is blocked by fences or windscreens, it's going to be hotter there. And finally, if you're in an area where there's absolutely no shade, like a soccer field on a sunny day, you want to keep that in mind and take precautions. Wear sunscreen, use proper eyewear, and stay cool for as long as you can. The other thing you got to think about when you're outside is sometimes altering your workouts. Now, we all want to work as hard as we can to attain our goals, but we have to be smart about it. If it's 95 degrees with 60% humidity, which is insanely harsh conditions, we can still work out, but we might need to change our pacing or distance if we're on a run to make sure we can get our work in and do it safely. One of the biggest factors in getting good workouts outside when it's cold out is dressing in layers. So as cool as this jacket is if I'm hanging out on the green or at an early season baseball game, it's not great if I'm trying to get a good workout in. So what you want to do is wear several light layers that you can take off as you get warmed up. So maybe you're wearing a jacket, a sweatshirt, and a t-shirt while you're warming up and doing your stretch. After that period, you take the jacket off, just have the sweatshirt and t-shirt on, and when you really get cranked up, your core body temperature is up, you're sweating, you're really getting going in your workout, you're down to just a t-shirt. And as you cool down, you put the layers back on. The other thing that we found happen is when we're wearing layers, our body heat inhabits layer by layer by layer, trapped inside the layers, and we stay warmer than just wearing one big starter jacket. So keep that in mind when you're dressing for the cold. Other things you want to look at when you're training outside is covering as much of your skin as you can. Everybody knows a lot of your heat escapes through your head and your hands, so definitely invest in a good hat and a good athletic pair of gloves that will not just get soaked with your sweat. They make those. Adidas makes those too. You can find those online in a lot of retailers. And then on top of that, keep track of your hydration level. When it's hot out, we get thirsty right away, and our body tells us to keep drinking, and we can normally control our hydration level. When it's cold out, we continue to sweat if we're working hard, but our body doesn't tell us to drink. The thirst mechanism fails, and we don't feel thirsty, and that's why we see a lot of athletes, particularly long-distance runners, get dehydrated when it's cold out. So keep that in mind and drink more than you think you need to, even if you feel physically cold. Okay, it's question time. We got a good one from Phil from Short Hills, and he writes in, I'm brand new to working out, and I'm curious whether you would recommend a treadmill or running outside for my cardio workouts. Great question. And I think, Phil, it depends personally on where you are and what you're trying to accomplish. If you're brand new to training, the treadmill is a great place to start. It's not as physically demanding as running outside because you're not propelling your body mass through space. On top of that, it's climate controlled and it's pace controlled by the computer, and you can really keep track of your progress with the computers on most treadmill consoles. If you're a little more advanced, I think you want to take it outside. It's physically more demanding, it burns more calories per minute, and on top of that, it's not as boring. You can kind of see the area area, see the world, and get a good feel of how it is. On top of that, there's hills, there's declines, and there's all different ways we can manipulate the environment to have our body experience different things while we're running outside. So if you're brand new to training, the treadmill or other cardio machine is great. If you're a little more advanced, I think you should be trying to get outside and take some of the tips we said today, regardless of the weather, and get out there and get some good workouts in. That's going to do it for this episode of Realistic Fitness. We'll see you next time on shupirates.com.